Hi, perfect. So, Tatjana, how are you today?
I'm good. I kind of just woke up, so everything's been great so far.
That's good. That's good. Great. It's the best way to start the week, right? Just waking up, chilling.
Oh my God, it's the best. I had my puppy, we were snuggling.
There you
Great way
go.
to start the week.
There you go. Sounds like a dream already. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Well, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. It is super awesome, and that's so cool. Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Now, before we start, I have to give you an epic introduction to the show. So if you have watched some of my episodes, you know exactly what I'm about to do. If not, well, then this is a surprise. So here you go.
I love it.
Right?
That's how I want to wake up every day.
Right? Yeah.
People cheering.
Yeah. That would be like the epic way, you know?
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Wake up. So, starting with the whole interview now. So, your story starts in Singapore, right? Where you were born, you got your first role on the local series, I'm Not Stupid. Tell me, do you remember at what age you got that role, and how did you got it?
Honestly, I've always been really interested in acting, and my parents have been supportive. And so I think I was like 5 years old when they, like, through a friend of a friend, they found out that something was casting. So it wasn't like I didn't have an agent or anything at that point.
Yeah.
And they were just like, oh yeah, well, my daughter's like really interested in acting. Maybe she could be in the show. And so I went in and I did kind of like an audition. And yeah, I got it, and I got to be on set, and it was just for one episode, but I was just like, I had the time of my life.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's how I bet that it felt like what's the word? Like you were going the next
like dreams coming true.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like
yeah.
The next step was reaching high, reach for the stars,
Right, and it all happened so organically that I was like, wow, this is so easy. Then, it doesn't happen that way.
Yeah, but it's nice. I mean, I think it was a great start. Cool. Cool. Now, then you got the chance to perform at the National Theatre. So tell me, do you remember some of the plays you did?
Yeah, I think the biggest one that I did, it was a musical, and it was like The Magical Legend of Hercules. And I remember that one so vividly because I had a speaking role in it, and that was like a really big deal because only 2 kids had a speaking role. And I can't sing to save my life, unfortunately, but I think that's why they gave me the non-vocal speaking role. But that was such a rush, and it was honestly the first time that I was like, wow, heck yeah, I could do this. This is sick. But again, I was 7, so that also came quite easily. So I was like, my life is just woo.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I get it. And then you moved to Sydney, where you got your first job as an extra, and then you upgraded to a speaking role. So at that moment, what kept you motivated to keep going?
I just honestly, every step of the way, I just really enjoy acting. I just love doing it. And every time I do it, I'm like, yes, this is what I want to do. So even when my parents really wanted me to get an education. That was first and foremost, the most important thing. They didn't want anything to distract me. I wasn't allowed to have boyfriends. Nothing was allowed to distract me. But I really wanted to act, and I was doing drama and all this stuff. And so they were like, okay, yeah, we'll get her an extras agent. She'll hate it. And we'll be done with that. And so my first extras role was on this show called Dangerous in Australia, and they kind of put me at the front, and then the main actor walked in, and we kind of had an improv interaction, and they ended up keeping it. And so I was just and it fully backfired on my parents.
That's awesome.
Also, I see someone ask, do you know Tatjana Marjanovic? No, I wish. He's not a tennis player, a basketball player. He used to play for the Clippers in LA, but no, he's not my uncle. That would be cool though.
Yeah, that would be badass. So what do you think it's important for actors to know when they just recently started on the acting industry?
Important? That you gotta love it. Because it is pretty tricky and it can be super disheartening, and you just got to keep going.
There you go. Yeah. Simple as that. And then moving on with your career. So between 2012 and 2015, you were in SITH 2030. Tell me more about that show and about your character.
Okay, so SITH 2030 was a project that I actually wrote myself.
Okay.
I was at university and I wrote just a script for a web series. And my teacher there, it's about law students. So I went to UNSW and I studied film and I studied law. And so for my film degree, they were like, you need to write something. And so I wrote an episode for this web series that was about law students, because they always tell you to write what you know. So such a cliche. But my teacher loved it and encouraged me to write more, and then encouraged me to make it. And so we made it, and it got picked up by the ABC in Australia, which was like the biggest deal for us, because we were still like very struggling uni students. And yeah, then we crowdfunded the second season and we did it for like $50,000, and yeah, won a bunch of awards, and that was great.
That is awesome. That's so cool. Congratulations on that. And
Thank
what are
you.
some of the best memories that you had during that during the whole shoot for that show?
I mean, all of it. Like the first season we had no money, which I think was almost better, because everybody was there out of love and passion, and it was all of our first projects, and I was doing it with my best friends, and we were pulling favors from everyone. We got to film at the Sydney Opera House, which was crazy. We like staged our law ball there, and that was just wild. And like we were 21 years old, so we felt invincible, and I can't even imagine even thinking about undertaking something that huge right now. But you know, when you're 21 and you're like, I could do anything. And so we did. So I feel like every single step of the way was just so wonderful.
That's so awesome. And then in 2016, you were in Fallout Revelation. You played as Tanya. Tell me, what did you like the most about that project, and how did you prepare for that character?
So that was based on obviously the game Fallout, and I played a half human, half robot. Yeah. And I'll tell you what I hated. I hated being in makeup, or like the special effects makeup, because they did half of my face like a robot. Yeah. And that sucked. It just sucked. It was 3 hours getting it on and then an hour taking it off at the end of the day. It looked really cool and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that sucked. But I really loved how everyone on the project was obviously like huge fans of Fallout. Everyone knew everything about it. I loved playing. She was a robot, but she didn't know she was a robot. She thought she was a human being. So that was like multi-layered. Yeah.
That's so awesome. And then that same year, you were also in This Will End Badly. So tell me about that film and how it was playing as a zombie.
That was crazy. It was interesting because she was a zombie, but she only her boyfriend could understand her, and everyone else couldn't understand her. She didn't speak English. So she was kind of like moaning and groaning, and only he would be like, well, that's crazy because like I did order the right drink. And she'd be like, and he'd be like, okay, well, I'll ask again. But no one else like knew what she was saying. So I had to really convey what she was trying to get through with my facial expressions, which was very interesting.
That's so amazing. Such epic roles you have at the moment. That's so cool. And then in 2018, you were in Alice is Dying. Also, tell me about your character and about that film as well.
So Alice is Dying, it's about two sisters, and I play the good sister who their father was a cop, and she wanted to follow in his footsteps, but then her sister is kind of like a villain, and so her sister shoots her, and it's the discussion that they have in the car about their father, and the villain sister actually discloses that her father was actually a crook too, and that was very interesting. That is
so cool as well. And tell me about Somniphobia. What did you find interesting in that film?
Ooh, Somniphobia was a good one. It's about dreams and lucid dreams and nightmares and things like that. Without giving too much away, it's also about I don't know how to say it without giving it away.
Then
Okay, yeah. I
Let's
won't.
leave it like that.
It was cool. Sorry. It's not like some giant secret, but it would give it the entire movie away.
Yeah. Let's leave it like that. Let's leave it like it's a movie about lucid dreams. That's
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. And tell me what, like during this whole COVID and pandemic time, tell me what were some of the challenges that you had as an actor because of all of this craziness that happened recently?
Yeah, it was pretty wild. I was actually filming a TV show called Purgatory in Armenia at the time when COVID hit, which was crazy because we were filming in a cave, and so we were like down in this cave 5 days a week, 12 hours a day, and we'd be like in our own little bubble, like kind of having fun, creating things, and then we'd come out of our bubble and people would be like, oh my God, like Australia's shutting down, or like, oh my God, you know, it's getting worse. And to us, it was kind of like, oh, well, you know, it'll sort itself out. And then they shut down our production and we were like, oh, okay. We were like sent back to America. America was in like a 2-week lockdown, and yeah, nothing has ever been the same again. So it was very crazy. Luckily, I've managed to keep busy throughout this whole time, which has been such a blessing.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, like it's interesting, right? That how much everything changed this past 2 years, and also, I mean,
2 years. I know it's been 2 years now.
2 years, right?
Yeah.
Now let's talk about We Were Tomorrow, and what did you like the most about doing action scenes?
Ooh, I love doing action scenes. It makes me feel like such a badass.
Yeah.
I play Pern, and she is a sniper for the bad guys, and I always love playing a bad guy. She obviously has her reasons for joining. She's actually looking for eternal youth, so maybe she could come to you. But the action sequences are so fun because you get to practice like days beforehand, and then it's kind of like a theater show because you have to hit everything correctly. Obviously, safety is important as well, so you can't just like do whatever you want. But then there's the day of filming, and it's like a big show.
Now let's talk about Monsters of Man. Tell me about that show and what can we expect to see in it?
Okay, so Monsters of Man is a film, and it's on Amazon now, so if you haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out.
Okay.
It is about these 4 killer robots that get sent into the Cambodian jungle, where there happen to be like there's this like epic drug ring, and they're trying to like get rid of it, except there are 5 doctors who are there. I'm one of the doctors, and nobody's supposed to be seeing these robots, and so the guy in charge is like, kill them all. And so it's us running away from these monsters for almost 2 hours.
That's awesome. So it's in Amazon?
It's on Amazon, yeah.
We're watching on that too.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's scary.
Put it on my list. Now, tell me about Purgatory. So about that show, I actually interview Bibi Lucille, which is one of your co-stars, right? Which shout out to her. She's amazing. Shout
out to Bibi.
She's amazing. So the second season is coming in September. So tell me about it.
So like I said, we filmed right before COVID, and then it got shut down. And I actually had the pleasure of going back to Armenia at the beginning of this year to finish filming the second season, which was, again, like when the world was shut down, it felt like such a privilege to even be traveling overseas. But obviously with COVID still around, it was a bit of a mission because, you know, people were testing positive on set, and then we'd have to shut down the set for 5 days.
Yeah, of course.
And make sure that everything was okay. So the fact that we even finished, I think, is a miracle, and I'm really proud of everything that everyone did. The first season saw, I think it's like 12 strangers get lured into a cave and then stuck there, and they all think that it's kind of by accident, and they all think that they're completely random, but through a series of events, they realize that they've all been implicated in this certain murder that happened like 5 years ago, and they're all there to pay for their sins. And basically the second season is a continuation of that, and them trying to get out.
That is Amazing. And tell me, where can we watch it? Where can we find it right now? I mean, if I wanted to see the first season so I can, get it ready for the second one, where I can see it.
So it's on Popstar TV.
Mm-hmm.
That is this new channel that's trying to take off, and I think the first episode's on there. They're going to be releasing it closer to the date. They're releasing the first season's been released, but they're going to release it again.
Yeah, of course.
And then kickstart the second season as well.
That is amazing. I'll make sure that if you can put a link like later on, if you can send me a link to that, so I can put it on the description on the YouTube, on the podcast as well, so everyone can watch this amazing show. Yeah, I mean, as I was telling you, when I was checking, then it was Purgatory, and I was like, wait a minute, I know someone from that show. So yeah, that's really cool. Really cool.
No, it was so great to work with Bibi as well.
Yeah, she's super awesome. So
amazing. And she came from the UK. Some of us came from America, some came from the UK, and obviously there were the local Armenian actors as well. So it was like a really fun mishmash of people, but we all got along so well, and it was really fun. That's
amazing. And also in September, you have two films coming out. The first one is Shelter in Place, and the second one is Never Blink. So tell me, what can we expect to see in those films? Like, tell me about them.
So Shelter in Place was one of the films that I got to film during lockdown. And we had the absolute pleasure of filming at the Roosevelt Hotel in LA. And so like the hotel was completely shut down, and we kind of had the run of the place, which was a dream come true. I love horror films. They're my favorite. Yeah. And I love horror films in hotels. So this was just like tick, tick. But it's about this honeymooning couple who kind of gets stuck during a pandemic in a hotel with just a skeleton like staff, and these weird things start happening. And it was a really small cast. I think there were 4 or 5 of us, and the crew was tiny as well, because this was, like I said, the beginning of COVID, so we had to be like super duper safe. But it was honestly one of the best experiences.
That's amazing. And tell me, what do you like the most about horror films? I mean, and acting on them. Yeah,
well, I think growing up, like my dad is a huge horror buff. So I just grew up watching horror films with him, like the classics, like The Shining. And then like, I loved The Ring. The Ring is one of my favorite movies, period. And more recently, like Hereditary was really good. And I think like, just because I've been watching them from such a young age, I'm kind of desensitized to all of it. And so I'm like seeking the thrill of being scared. And I think that's when I know it's like a good horror film, like when I'm just like, ooh, okay, yeah. Or when I think about it later. But acting in it, it's what I love watching. So I like to just be in what I like to watch.
That's cool. And so you mentioned that you like that you like played also as a villain. Tell me, what do you like the most about being the villain?
I like justifying their actions. Nobody acts evil just cause. Well, I mean, I don't think so. So it's kind of interesting reading a script and seeing what they do, and then kind of like creating a backstory to justify why they do that in the end. And there's always a human reason that you can find that would motivate someone to do something like that. So that's what I enjoy.
Yeah, I agree on that. I think whenever there's a villain, but there's like a backstory, and if it is good, like good written and properly tell, like the fact that at some point you can like maybe you can relate a little bit about that,
Yeah.
And also I think playing as the villain is interesting because you can get super crazy on it, and the audience would be like, it's the villain, it's fine.
Yeah. There's no rules.
Yeah, exactly. No matter what you say or whatever, it's like, it's the villain. Okay, cool.
And they always have like the fun scenes or like the fun things to do. So that would be my preference.
Yeah, totally. You can do what you can do or say whatever, and actually we'll have like more fun with it. That's cool. And now, from all of the characters that you have played so far, tell me, which one has been like, if you could get like your top 5, how would it be of your favorite characters that you played at the moment.
Ooh. Okay. Well, in this film that I have coming out in September called Never Blink, I play like a doctor who is looking into what happens when we blink. Okay. So apparently we blink cumulatively 48 minutes a day. And so there's 48 minutes of the day where our eyes are shut, but our brains are telling us what we should be seeing, but we're not actually seeing that. Yeah. And so this doctor and her team of scientists are looking into what we actually see when we blink. And she was an interesting character because it was unlike any character that I'd ever played before. She's very like smart and headstrong and very like according to the facts, and she wasn't emotional at all, which is a far cry from the usual. I usually like play these characters that usually come from privileged backgrounds and then spend the whole season or the whole movie like subverting everyone's expectations of them. Whereas like this chick, like you knew from the get-go that she was going to be like cool and she's going to save the day, and it was hard, but I liked it a lot. So that would be my favorite, I think. That's
cool.
Yeah.
And if you could describe your career at the moment in a TV show, how would you call it? Like, what would be the title of that show?
Sorry, do you mind saying that again?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you could describe your career at the moment, but for a TV show, what would be the title of it?
Oh, wow. She's doing her best.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I think that's all anyone can ask for.
Yeah. No. It's cool because check this out. So she's doing her best. So it instantly gets the attention because you're like, oh, what is she doing? I don't know. You need to check it. And she's doing the best of what? Yeah. But about what? We need to see it. So yeah, that's a catchy name. Yeah, I like that. There you go. Yeah, you definitely have looks like you have, if at some point you want to do a TV show, you got a title then.
There you go. I would never want to do a TV show about myself though. That would be crazy.
Well, at least you have a title for one. So.
There you go. Tick. I'm putting that in the bank.
There you go. Awesome. Now, basically your career is amazing. I mean, you have done so many amazing things. You have been fighting every day to pursue your dream, but tell me what drives you? Like, where does this epicness that you have come from?
The sheer refusal to not succeed, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. My parents are fantastic, and from like a very young age, they always told me that I could do anything. Like they have so much faith in me, and they were always just like, no, you could be anything, you could do anything. And so I kind of grew up with that mentality, and I was like, oh, I want to be an actor, and let's just do it. And so I've just never thought to myself that I wouldn't. So here I am.
That is amazing. And any advice to people who recently starting following their dreams? What can you say to them?
I think like the biggest journey for me has been finding happiness in my failures. And I'm not saying like huge failures or anything, but like, you know, I audition a lot and I don't get most of them. And I used to let that really get me down, and I used to get really excited about things and then just be let down even more. So I think like the whole journey for me, being in LA especially, is finding happiness in everyday life and just being happy to be doing everything and like being on this journey. So that's what I would say, like finding happiness in your failures just as much as your successes, because you know, there's a lot more failures than successes. So you want to be happy.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that is one of the things that maybe for some people can get, I mean, it can be discouraged, you know, the fact that whenever you want to start doing something, you will get like a lot of these failures going here and there, and it's going to make you question a lot if you should continue doing it or not. But as I've been saying in previous interviews, I think that sometimes you need like those bad moments and those learning experience in order to continue grow. You know, I think that
100%.
It's what builds character in you, because imagine that if everything would be like so easy, that if I said like I want to be a millionaire and then boom, already a millionaire. Or I want to be an actor, and then you have all these amazing contracts for this big movie franchises. You will not enjoy it, you know. It wouldn't take the same. You wouldn't care, you know. It's like, okay, whatever. But I do agree too that you need like see those failures as learning experiences to help you to continue.
100%. Yeah.
You know, so cool. Well, Tatjana, what can I say? I mean, basically, you are an amazing, an amazing person. I mean, you have such a badass career with so many awesome things here. And one of the things that I want is to, I mean, I look forward to see more of your amazing work in the future. I mean, you have 2 movies coming up in September. That's really cool. But I wish that there's that you can have like more and more and more. I mean, basically,
me too.
I wish you a lot of success here. Also, thank you so much for those who are tuning in and those who are listening to this later on the podcast or watching this on the YouTube video. Make sure that you're following Tatjana in all of her social media. Normally, what I would say is, if you're watching this, you can put pause for a while. Why not? Hydrate. And then follow Tatjana in all of her social media. Leave her a lot of likes here and there. Share some of the content. I mean, spread the word that there is another super actor here. So
thank you.
And then come back to the video. And I mean, you've done it. I mean, we pretty much finished with the whole questions here. Now I'm starting this new thing, right? In which at the moment I have 2 levels of epicness. So I'm gonna start with the first level for you, and then we'll jump to the second one. So the first level, since we're done with the whole question here we go. It is cool. I know. And before I jump to the second one, thank you so much for being here. It was really awesome to talk with you, to know more about your career. I mean, as I said before, I really look forward to see more of your amazing work anytime soon. I'll definitely be keeping track on that. And again, keep having an amazing rest of the day and an amazing week. And
thank you, and thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
And now, let's finish with in an epic way. So here we go.
I'm changing my ringtone.
It's super cool, right? So again, thank you so much, and I'll be seeing you in the next one then.
Sounds good. See you
Bye.
later. Bye.